Good afternoon. Welcome to the tea table. I am so happy you've joined me today. It's the glorious August summer beauty. I am outside and I am determined to be in nature and outside as much as possible this entire beautiful month of August. Yes. Well, if you haven't gotten your tea yet, please pause and get your tea. I'll be waiting for you. Okay. On the tea tray, I will first show you I put on my tea cozy because my tea, when it comes outside, has a tendency to get cold. So I like to have a tea cozy, and in the winter, when the house is cold, the same thing. A tea cozy is wonderful. Well, when I started today, I started with this hat. I found this hat upstairs in my room. I thought, I need to wear that hat before summer is over. So I created a little outfit that I feel looks rather, I don't know, turn of the century, 30s, 40s, colonial days of the camel and the black and the straw, and going to the countries far across the ocean that people needed to really wear a big straw hat. And they were probably invented really originally by the Chinese because their fabulous hats really protect you from the sun. Well, I want to show you what's on my tray. So then I felt like I feel like wonderful blue and pink china. And blue and pink china is not as easy to find as, well, there's lots of pink, but blue is more rare. And I had to scour through my cupboards to find. I found this beautiful pot, and it, I think, is European because it has a marking but doesn't have the English stamp. It's very nice. And I'll tell you what inspired me. I was walking by my table and I had this wonderful, it's my triple tea tray that I use for my special tea parties. And it has the turquoise on it and the pink. And then on the top it has the yellow, the best colors. And I thought, I need to do something really special for my beautiful tea people and let them have some color. So this is chicken salad with curry, apple, a little bit of lemon, garlic, a little bit of cumin on the first row, and then I have some fabulous biscotti that are chocolate orange biscotti, and on the top, some cantaloupe and some very special bran muffins that my daughter-in-law made me, Alexandra, and they have a pecan in the top. She made these with a lot of banana, minimal sugar, minimal oil. They're very healthy. And I know that normally on the top you have the sweetest treat. Well, this is going to be a healthy tea, and isn't it gorgeous? So we're going to sit this right, help yourself. I love these 3 tiers. It makes it possible to have a lot on the tea table, especially if you have a smaller space or a lot of people. So we're going to put that right there in front of my beautiful hydrangeas. And then behind it are the pink hydrangeas. Well, the blue. I'm going to confess to you. My husband and I were up at the Lake Quinault Lodge last Sunday afternoon. We like to do day trips after church and after dinner. It's only an hour, so we drove up, actually went to the ocean, walked to the beach, got back in our car, drove another 40 minutes to the Lake Quinault Lodge, and watched the beautiful sunset. Oh my! And I highly recommend day trips. You don't have to pack. You don't have to hassle. You just get in the car, get a cup of coffee, and go. And so then at the Lake Quinault Lodge, we watched the sunset over the Olympics, the 100-year-old lodge that these fabulous blue hydrangeas grow like wildflowers. They grow among the fir tree. The Lake Quinault Lodge is at the heart of the Washington rainforest. And they love water, and so I thought, couldn't I have just a few for the tea table? Because sadly, we transplanted ours and they haven't bloomed this year yet. Hoping they bloom still. Well, let's pour out. I have an absolutely beautiful cup for you. And I'll show it to you. It has the turquoise and the pink, and it's an English cup. And when I was collecting these today, I thought, isn't the invention of the beautiful China teacup the most amazing of all? So I'm going to pour out for you. And the tea is Earl Grey, and it is real tea, in fact, I'm going to use something I brought to show you, the tea strainer. If you use bags of tea, you don't need this. But this is loose leaf tea, Earl Grey from England. And so I'm going to use this. And let's just see how much the tea has been sitting here for a while, so didn't collect too much, but enough. And because I'm not using sugar, I'm just going to use the sugar bowl to set my tea strainer in. And I'm going to have a splash of milk. Put a splash of milk in yours. Everything smells so fabulous. I can smell this sandwich, the cantaloupe, just hoping the bees don't come. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely the best. One of the secrets of tea, you must let it steep long enough, but not too long. I believe for loose leaf tea, it's about 6 minutes. And then when I had tea once, I had a professor at the University of Washington, Dr. Johnson, history professor, and he was from England. And yes, he was teaching American Revolution history. Fascinating. Well, he did the British way and had us come home to his house, and we had tea at the end of the quarter, and had a discussion around the table of our thoughts on the class. And he had this huge teapot. There were probably about 10 or 12 of us. And I noticed as soon as it was getting to the bottom, he put a few more scoops of tea in, poured more hot water right over the top, kept the same going. So I don't think you have to dump it all and then redo. You just, if you're in the tea party and you need more, that's what he did. And his tea was fabulous. Those Brits make the best tea. They really do. Well, you know, they went out to India and China and Africa during Empire days, and they learned to make tea from the natives. And that's why their tea is so good. my Kenyans always tell me that tea is the drink in Kenya. And it comes from those mountains and that beautiful sunshine on the equator. So now, I found one little special piece of china that had blue on it. And it's a little, maybe like a salt shaker or a pepper shaker, or some used to use it as a sugar shaker on a cake, but isn't that beautiful? It's very, very old. It looks Austrian to me. And today I'm thinking my best tea parties that I've ever had, or formal teas that I have been privileged to attend, have been in Canada. And that's why I chose to play this wonderful Canadian accordion music, Pierre. And I've played him before. His CD is called Paris in Victoria. And I thought, we're gonna go from that to all the way across Canada to Prince Edward Island, where wonderful OfGreenGables, and didn't their life always center around tea? And I found a book this week that is so special, and it's called The Selected Journals of Lucy Maud Montgomery, 1889 to 1910. And she is, of course, the author of the wonderful OfGreenGables series that's set in beautiful Prince Edward Island, east coast of Canada. And when you think of the power of this woman to write these books, we are all in love with Prince Edward Island. And then Canada did the fabulous On the Road to Avonlea TV series of all of her. I found them this week on YouTube. You can get them and watch them. There are a lot of them, and they were done in the 80s and 90s. So well done. Filmed on site in Canada, in Prince Edward Island. And think of this power of a book, that her stories of OfGreenGables, we've all loved them. Men and women, adults, seniors, children, everyone loves OfGreenGables. Everyone can relate to her because she's such a real person that goes through the real experiences of life. And she overcomes. And I'm really looking forward to reading her journals. Well, I was thinking, what are the scents and smells of summer that we all love? And I found my lavender, and I have this in my powder room. And you can squeeze the lavender and the oils come and start smelling. Oh my goodness, it smells so fabulous. And it grows in summer. We have a lot of lavender up near us in Swim. In fact, this came from my dear friend Ruth, who gave me a huge bag of lavender, and I made it into little bags like this and gave them as gifts, and now I have them in my drawers. And they keep the moths away without the horrible smell of mothballs. Isn't that great for your woolens? And there's real medicinal, oh my goodness, there's even lavender tea. Once I had a lavender gelato, and it was over the hill. It was so beautiful. It was so delicious. It was just an exquisite flavor. Lavender is fabulous. The scents of summer. And one of the main scents of summer is, let's look, it's roses. And these are my roses that are growing right outside on the bottom of my porch. I have them in a big pot. And that is one branch that produced all those roses. I just picked one branch. Now, there is a story. First of all, the vase that these are in is a Russian vase. And it's rather different for Russian, but it has a Russian stamp. And I think that it's just perfect for these roses. And they smell so sweet. Oh, my goodness, there is nothing like a rose. Well, I need to tell you about these fabulous roses because they were a gift about 5 years, maybe 6 years ago in a little tiny, you've seen a little baby rose pot that someone will give you in the spring you put on your table. I discovered, don't throw them away. I put them in a bigger pot, and then they ended up in this pot, and I literally have done very little to cultivate them, and they come out every year. They survive the snow, the ice. I don't put them away. They sit there, and I have another one next to this that is the color of an apricot, and I'll have to bring some of those on the tea table because amazing. I don't have a lot of flowers blooming right now in my yard. And this is part of a laurel hedge I took from my yard as a backdrop. And I have a lot of that. We have so many big trees here that everything here needs to be basically a shade flower. So, but roses, these roses do well. Isn't that interesting? And the hydrangeas, they do very well. And the begonias. And the impatiens also. So now some of you live where you have all sun. Now that's an advantage to a degree, but then you really have to water in this weather. You must water, and between the flowers now and my little cakes here, I am attracting the bees. I was thinking of maybe putting the little teapot up on the table, but I think I'll just pour a little bit more. Well, I was thinking about beautiful Canada. You know, we've had a lot of European tea talks. And Europe, so much comes from Europe, of course. But I've always thought Canada, to the north of us, we're only about 2 hours. Well, it's 2 hours to the ferry, and then it's an hour across for us to go to Victoria, to the islands. So Canada combines the best of America and the best of Europe. The only place my parents ever went on vacation was Canada. I was raised on going to Canada. My father was from Norway, my mother from Chicago. They loved Canada. They couldn't wait to get to Vancouver. Basically, it was Vancouver, Stanley Park. Oh my. The zoo, the beautiful bridge. Stanley Park in itself is just a complete work of art, like a Garden of Eden. Has a sea walk that goes at least 10 miles all the way around. You can walk it. And they have tea rooms in Stanley Park. They have beautiful English tea rooms and lawn bowling, and you know, it's British Columbia, so it had a lot of British influence, especially when I was young. And then Victoria, you had the Empress Hotel, which was built for Queen Victoria, and the Parliament. And they used to have, you'd walk up the main street, all kinds of china shops, and my mother would always bring a teacup home. And we had a neighbor who always watched their house, and she would always bring a teacup to her. Mickey Dial. And by the end of it all, after about 25 years of this, Mickey had quite a collection. Isn't that a nice thought? my mother was very thoughtful. And Mickey, she wasn't able to go, and she loved the tea collection of teacups. And there used to be these fabulous stores there. I don't know. They had the Hudson Bay department store, which was about 12 or 13 floors. They had a nurse, they had a doorman. It was so fabulous. Everything. About 4 restaurants just in one department store. Similar to our Frederick and Nelson's. But I remember everything tasted better in Canada. They had the best food, and you had this influence from the Italian, the Germans, the English, the Scottish, the Welsh, all these people, and the Dutch, and all the European, and then now the Eastern European countries, I'm sure, brought their influence. And so the food was, I don't know if their laws are stricter, but it always felt more organic and natural. The bakeries, the bread was, now we have good bread here too. Good sourdough rye and pumpernickel and the real good healthy bread. In fact, my little sandwich that I made for you is probably made with, I'll show you. It's the best bread, I think, in Olympia. And it's from the Blue Heron Bakery. It's been going for like 50 years. And the man that founded it is still baking there. Incredible. And this bread is, there's sourdough rye. And it is, I'll try to show you. People that have come to my house for tea parties have had it, but it's the best bread. You toast it and you just need a half a piece. It's absolutely the real thing. As good as homemade, truly. They make it every day. And chicken salad sandwiches are the best, aren't they? So let's put this back. I'm trying to straddle this. But I brought along, I know that many of you like to see my purse, so I brought along just a fun purse. Now this is vintage, and it opens like this, and it's made like a little wooden, would you say a fishing tackle box? But it's a purse. Isn't it cute? It would hold just enough for the tea party, and it has true style, doesn't it? Well, Canada, I will just tell you, when my husband and I were married, we met the darlingest couple in Victoria, BC. They were in their late 80s. Their names were Ted and Dorothy Abraham. They lived on Faithful Street. This is no joke. This is true. Ted had fought in World War I for England, and they had come to Canada after the war. He was actually a lord, but he didn't want to stay in England. He wanted to come to the frontier of Canada, so he gave his lordship to his cousin who lived in Australia, who then went to England and sat in the House of Lords as Lord Abraham. Well, Ted and Dorothy were about the most beautiful people. They invited us to their home. She had written books on Victoria, BC, and I have 2 of her books. And they lived right by the sea walk in Victoria. There's a maybe 5-10 mile sea walk where people can walk, and it's on the bluffs of the Straits of Juan de Fuca, and the salt air blows. You see the Olympic Mountains from the other side. It is the healthiest place, and that's probably why they lived so long. Victoria is like a Garden of Eden. The flowers there are incredible. Well, Ted and Dorothy had us to their home for tea. And she was in her late 80s, and she was still baking scones and muffins. And I'll never forget her scone. Delicious. And they told us their story, that when they came, the Canadian rail had just been finished. And that's why the Empress Hotel was built. That's why Banff and Lake Louise hotels were built, was to get people to come west. And so they took the boat from England, got on the train, and where it was on the east coast there, came all the way across Canada, and came all the way to Victoria, BC. And they became friends, and they were wonderful Christian people. They gave my husband some wonderful old books that he still has. In fact, she gave me a necklace of pearls and a necklace of green stones. You know, I need to bring those to the tea table. I will find them. She gave them as a gift. They were, I'm sure the pearls, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever actually worn them. I need to wear them. This is what we need to do. We need to wear what we have, not just keep it in a box. But I treasured it so much because it came from her, and they were true British Canadians with the hospitality, and their house had a name. They named their house Terra Tefai. It's an Irish name. And that's the custom in England. You know that the large estates will have names like Chatsworth House, but in England, many of my friends, they would have a name on their house, even just a normal house. I thought if I named my house, I would like to name it Lily House, because it's the meaning of my name. Susan means lily, and Elizabeth means house of bread. So that would be fun. I haven't formally done it, but I like that. And I think that summer, I just want to encourage all of you. Go out. It's hard to get out of our houses sometimes. It's so hard. We look around at all the projects and the things we need to do. But yesterday, I said to my husband, we need to go out. We just need to go, not just on our deck, but we need to go out into nature. And so we had gone shopping. Actually, we had to go to Costco. And so we picked up a little picnic item, and actually it worked. It was chicken street tacos. And so we took them to the park. We went down by Capitol Lake. Down when I gave that Memorial Day tea talk on that grassy under the trees, and it was about 5 o'clock, and it was a very hot day, and the breeze started blowing through the trees. Oh, it was so wonderful. So I have some kids in town. I called a couple of them. They had already eaten. Well, then I thought, okay, I'll just call Sam and just tell him where we are, because we had so much left. And lo and behold, my son Sam, who lives quite a ways away from here, was on the other side of the lake with their little darling 1-year-old, that she was over there in the little sprinkles, and they were, because cooling down. I said, well, hey, we're over here. So spontaneous, they came over and had a little picnic with us. And the baby loved the grass. Crawling on the grass is so nice and so fun. And we had to go then because we were waiting for my husband's car was getting some kind of a brake job. So we thought, okay, but we grabbed the moment. That's what my point is. Don't wait for perfect planning on a calendar. Grab the moment, and invite someone along if they can join. And it was just fabulous. And it was short, sweet. And I went home feeling full of that nature, what only nature can give you. The outdoor beauty of the trees and the lake. It was wonderful. So I just highly, highly recommend to all of you to don't miss August, because it's almost like we are bears or little squirrels filling up for the winter, because the winter will come. And so we need the sun now for our well-being. Yes. Well, one thing I didn't show you was what I have. Okay, if you can look here at the creamer and the sugar bowl, they're really, really special. And I love them. See the little creamer? Okay, I think I need to pick it up actually to show you. Okay. I love scenes on China, and this is so beautiful. I think the name of this, is Paragon, and it is a beautiful bird. See inside, and it actually almost looks like a peacock. I don't know, I think it's a peacock. Isn't that beautiful? And it has the turquoise trim, so that's why I used it with this blue pot and this turquoise cup, which I have managed to have a few drips on, but this turquoise cup is really, really pretty. I love the use of blue. It just, I don't know, there's something about blue. It just moves me. Well, I hope you're having a good summer. And, you know, start with a hat and then just put something together. This just came together. Just all worked. And I find that the coolest thing to wear in the summer is, this is a pure cotton dress, and then this shawl, it just lets the wind blow through you and around you and keeps you so cool. And I think that's why all the ladies in the Africa continent and the Middle East, they often dress like this, because it keeps you so cool. There's airflow. Yeah. Well, I think that is it for today, and I just really thank you all for coming and have a tea party. Now that I made all this, I'm gonna hope my kids come over and eat it, because it's a lot. I want to have a tea party really soon. I wish we could have a tea party for all of the tea people. Maybe someday we can do that. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me, and God bless you. And I'll look forward. Oh, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And please push the notification, because it's hard for me to send you the link. And then if you could let me know when you've subscribed, so then I won't send you the link. And if you could push the like if you like it, and share with someone else. It's free, and it's just good news and happiness. That's all we want to do on the tea table. So thank you, and if you have any comments, I love your comments. I appreciate them immensely. So God bless. Have a fabulous week, and have a cup of tea with someone dear.